center of pearl farming village called Wago Bay. We are departing the port of Kashikojima and we are heading for Wagu port.
This is the Mikimoto pearl facility, and we're just passing by it now on our way to some of the other farms around Shiba. The residence of the Mikimoto family right above the facility.
It's an island called Masakijima Island, and this community used to be one of the most affluent community in Japan, the highest rate of TV possessing and the highest per capita income. But now I was told that most of the population is very old, all elderly, and because the young generation has left.
So as we heard, this island mostly now has only elderly people left on it, and there are only 2 children left on the island because most of the economy has collapsed. There is no police station, no elementary school, no hospital. And we're here, in fact, with a couple of professors from the social work department at a university in Osaka who are bringing children from the city to come and see what life is like in such areas. Seeding an oyster. First of all, he starts off with one of these kernels which has been derived from the shell of another kind of mollusk which has been imported from the United States. And this kernel is being inserted into the oyster, and in order for the oyster to produce the layers of pearl that are needed, there is also this biological material over here which is going to be draped around the kernel, and then the oyster will be able to produce the pearl that is required. So the kernel is made from this particular shell that was imported from the United States and is considered one of the better kinds of materials to produce it. First, this biological material is inserted, and then the kernel is being added on into the shell using these implements. This is how the film is extracted, which will then be dyed and then added to the kernel for the oyster to produce the pearl.
To get rid of the water.
This is the film. It has to be very meticulously handled to separate out. It has to be just the right consistency in order for the oyster to accept it and for the kernel then to be added. And now the dye is being added on to differentiate it from the core and the kernel, and then the dye's color will actually go away later, and so this is not to color the pearl, it's only to facilitate the process of adding the core or the kernel into the oyster. This is how the farm purchases the baby oysters in these mats. This is just to show you what they look like initially when they arrive.
Actually 3 months old.
These are about 3 months old.
Akoya gai.
And this species in Japanese is known as Akoya gai. It's different from the species found in Australian pearling and Tahitian pearling, and can only be used once, so one oyster produces only one pearl in its lifetime. The cost of one such batch of 10,000 baby oysters is only 3 yen, or about 3 cents. So the government is probably subsidizing this process so that the farms can have the basic material to produce the pearls. This is the oyster net which is being taken out and is ready for being pearled. This is the Mikimoto Research Institute in Toba, and this whole town is dominated by Mikimoto. The tourism here is about 225,000 people per year, and most of these are, of course, domestic. 15% foreigner. And Mikimoto dominates the map, of course, the birthplace of the great pearling master. And what is quite remarkable is, just above the map, the flag that is flying is not of Japan, but of China. And the reason being that China is now the largest source of tourism revenue of any international tourists to this region. To welcome the Chinese is a Chinese flag, and of course China is also now a major competitor in terms of freshwater pearls. Jewelry shop in Toba, and
The major places for freshwater farming was Biwa Lake and the Kasumigaseki Lake, but those became polluted and the environment deteriorated. That's why that industry declined.
so this is a view of the pearl farming region of Japan from atop the mountain next to the city of Toba, where Mikimoto started much of his enterprise, looking all the way out to Shima, where current pearl farms exist